So the thing that I do is I like to sit down. It makes me feel comfortable. And it's funny because that's what my story is about. Today, I'm going to tell you the story of my flannel. Why is this guy wearing a flannel in 90-degree heat? People ask me that all the time. I'd be out at a whiskey club event. Brutal heat, 97 degrees. Everybody's sweating, and I'm standing there cool, completely feeling comfortable. And they're like, "Aren't you hot?" Nope, I'm comfortable. Why? Well, let me tell you the story of how I started to wear the flannel. It started way back in 2017. My grandfather, a very important man to me, had gotten sick. He was an alcoholic. He drank his entire life, and it finally caught up to him. His liver and his kidneys were both failing. I got the call on a Monday night. It was around 9. The kids were in bed, and he needed to go to the hospital. My dad was out of town. My brother was out of town. It was me. I was the person that had to be there. So I drove to the hospital, and I met him there, and I didn't leave for a week. I mean, I came home here and there, but I was there every single day. He told me so many stories about my grandmother, about my dad, about my aunts, things that I had never heard before. And he told me, "Jeff, don't let anything happen in my house. I love that house. I built that house for your dad and your aunts and your grandmother. And when my mom died, or his grandmother died, there was a dispute over her house. Nobody paid the taxes, and it got lost, got repossessed. He said, don't let that happen in my house. You guys figure it out." And we did. My dad came up with the idea, subdivided the land my grandfather had. My brother purchased his house and moved in, and my wife and I had the opportunity to build our house. And in February of 2020, I moved in to my grandfather's property and in my dream home. That's when I put the flannel on. My wife loves Pinterest. And for months and months going up to the house, she would send me things that she wanted. And I just looked at them and I had this sickening feeling in my stomach because I knew I couldn't afford them. But I still wanted to give them to her. Well, my grandfather was a carpenter. And I figured, now I've got this new house, this new space, and all these power tools my wife and dad had been buying me for years. I'm gonna learn how to do that. I put the flannel on and I got to work in the garage. I built an entertainment center, I built a mud room, I built cubbies, I built everything. Turns out I'm pretty good at it. And I started wearing the flannel. And then summertime came, and I'm still working in the garage, and I keep the flannel on because my grandfather, I remember him telling me when I was a kid, keep long sleeves on. It's gonna protect you when you're working with power tools and wood. You don't wanna take a splinter to your arm. If you're wearing a long shirt, you're gonna protect yourself. He always used to wear a jean jacket everywhere. And it got me reflecting. Why didn't I like the heat? My whole life, I hated the heat. I wore a t-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops all the time. And I thought, why? And I remember as a kid, my dad would do the wood stove in our house. He didn't want to pay for heat, so he'd burn the wood stove really, really, really hot. And that room, that living room, which is where we spent most of our time because the TV was there, it was boiling. So I'm wearing t-shirt, shorts, and when I leave that, the rest of the house is freezing cold, but I adapted to it. The cold didn't bother me, but the heat bothered me. In the summertime, oh my God, my dad would not turn on the AC. AC's a luxury. It's a want, not a need, and your father and mother's job is to provide you with what you need and not what you want. And I would be sweating up there in my room, turn the AC on, and I just hate the heat. So I dressed like I hated the heat. And then I got in the spot where I needed to be different. And I realized if I did it little by little, I'd get acclimated and I would adapt, just like I did to the cold. I realized how much control I could have over my life. And I started thinking about my behavior. I started thinking about my wife's behavior. I started thinking about my children's behavior. I learned a little bit about myself. And so I wear the flannel as a reminder of who I was, the person that I was shaped by my environment to be, a person who wore t-shirts, shorts, flip-flops, drank whiskey, and watched television, to a person who wears jeans, a flannel, drinks coffee, reads books, and seeks knowledge. I took control. I shaped myself. I decided who I wanted to be, and then I went out and became that person. And all along the way, I became a better husband, a better father, and a better son. All because of these moments that led me to reflect and understand. So that's the story of my flannel. Thank you for letting me share with you. And the reason I sit, because it calms my nerves. Because it's terrifying being up here. But the more you do it, the more you get used to it, and you'll get comfortable. And then you can be a better speaker, right? Thank you.